Hello everybody, I wanted to reach Diamond 5 before making this video. Gonna keep pushing for Diamond 1 after it goes live, obviously. I have three kind of deck lists here for a Red Dragon ARCHFIEND Swordsoul engine that I want to share with you guys. And I've been working on it this entire month. I've actually lost a lot of games trying to figure out the, I guess, perfect solution, in my opinion at least. You might need to adjust the decks a bit to your own playstyle if you want to. But there's one that has a DP in it. 50 card deck, one that is running Asketos, also a 50 card deck, and then we have a third one where it's 40 cards because I know people, at least some people, only want to run a 40 card version and don't compromise. A lot of the games and clips are going to be against Swordsoul 10G because that's just what everybody's playing. It feels like at least 90% of the decks you're against the Swordsoul 10G. It's just everybody's playing it. It seems like this guy got a bit unlucky. This Stony Monster is going to get out, but he's going to put down 2 face downs and he's also going to have an Ash Blossom in hand, so all things considered, it's kind of fine, I guess. Also, the face downs are gonna play a huge part. I think I could have dealt with if it was just like him discarding and getting out the Baronne Nibiru, but see, then he negates this instead, which I guess is fine. So I summoned Ask to Dawnwalker, go into the Chaos Ruler. I'm currently kind of playing around him having a Swordsoul Blackout actually, but I guess he would have summoned the Baronne Nibiru maybe, but I don't know. I figured maybe one of them is Swordsoul Blackout. So I was playing around that, which is why I got rid of his monster first. And now I want my red supernova dragon, and the Mad Lad has a Call by the Grave. Luckily I have a negate, but no, 34 cards left in deck, and he has his second Call by the Grave. Now let me tell you a story. A lot of the games I've had in a situation where the guy, like I'm called by the Grave on one of his things. He cross-out designated it. One of his Called by the Grave is in the graveyard and he's used Pot of Desires to banish 10 cards and he still has a Called by the Grave in his deck. Or like a sort of reverse situation where I am using the cross-out designator on his Called by the Grave and then he cross-out designators my cross-out designator. There's been a lot of stuff like that. Obviously I did the only right play, get rid of his negate, since he was gonna destroy my thing anyways. Luckily out of the cards, destroying a level 4 monster. I mean, I have plenty of stuff in my deck that would make it playable for me. Adding this for a play for later, and then I'm adding stuff to my hand in case I need it for later, because I can't finish him anyways. And I decided to just do a bit of damage, get rid of his Baronne. At this stage I'm just like holding. See this, I know that I have to use it to prevent my thing from being, you know, returned to the extra deck. So I'm just also getting rid of all his monks. And now here's the thing, I actually activate this effect before looking and then I decide that I need the Chain Resonator more. Which was kind of a mistake because honestly I had lethal with that. Also I could have summoned the, what is it, the Swordsoul, Iris, whatever. Instead I'm like, okay, this is lethal as well, but then the guy has a Nibiru. If I had a Nibiru in my deck at this time, I could have cross-out designated it and it would have been fine, but you know, I'm not too afraid because I do have the red supernova dragon, so I'm kind of fine with it. But still, I didn't need to let it get this close. I could have just ended it if I had, you know, played it and then swapped it out with something else so it was in the graveyard so I could use it, or if I just used the Chain Resonator instead. Didn't need to risk it like this, but hey, I got the win. Before I show this match, I want to show that this guy is actually Diamond 5 and is using possibly the best version of Swordsoul 10G, or at least one of the best versions that is available with the deck, and this is actually just so toxic. And obviously, my first mistake is that I lost a coin flip. Again, I've actually lost so many coin flips, it's insane. First thing, I need to bait out the Baronne Nibiru, and the best way to do that is Lightning Storm. He's gonna cancel that right up. And then I'm thinking I'm baiting him out with my normal summon because first off, now he thinks that I'm not a Swordsoul deck, and he used his negate there. Now it does do this. However, let's say he was a bit smart and didn't get threatened by this. I would have summoned my Crystal Hulk and then gotten down like a thing, and he would then have used Swordsoul Blackout. Luckily, this could special summon itself as well since he negated my red resonator. There's even several times I've had double Call by the Grave against me where I cross-out designated the Call by the Grave. But yeah, since I know that it's a mirror, I decide to summon the Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign. And at this stage, I'm just next level braining this guy. So at this stage, I'm like, oh, you showed me your Taie. You haven't used your normal summon yet. I'm gonna call that Taie, and then I'll remove your token so that you don't have a play. So he summons the Ash Blossom, goes into the Crystal Hulk because it's the best deck, calls out the Deskbot. And then the Auroradon, which means that, you know, in a lot of situations you'd be able to outplay me, but he can't really do anything because I decided the Swordsoul Supreme, and also I banished his token before. This is where he's not really too sure what to do, so he gets the Swordsoul Blackout and like kind of messes it all up and concedes. First I checked with Ash Blossom with the Resonator call, but also a lot of the games I'm showing, I'm trying to get out Red Supernova Dragon in those, because there were a lot of games where, you know, I maybe went for Baronne Nibiru and something else, or because with the DP version I had DP out, and I've just decided to scrap all of those replays. Like, I didn't even want to save them, because I feel like it's a Red Dragon ARCHFIEND deck. Most of the games should at least summon the Red Supernova Dragon, right? That's at least how I feel about it. So here I get possibly one of the best setups with the Red Supernova Dragon and the Abyss. Also deciding to banish the Crimson Resonator because I need these two in the graveyard in case of Red Rising Dragon, so I can bring them back. I mean, yeah, I would be able to get one of them away and then have the Chain Resonator for the second one, so that is a way you can do it normally as well, but I don't know, normally you would use the Chain Resonator and the Crimson Resonator, so you still have the 2 Synchron Resonator. At this stage I try and negate that, and then it forces out the whole chain reaction of my Red Supernova Dragon. The smart play here is play this, call water, but I didn't know you could call it from opponent's attributes this time. I thought you had to have it on your board yourself. So he does Swordsoul Blackout, but I still get the token, so I still get to call water. And turns out this guy is actually running a DPE, so he will play Fusion Destiny. Obviously I'm capitalizing on my Maxi. I know he's like, I just want to replace the card honestly. So I get Swordsoul Emergence, and as a result of that I let him take out my Protos, because with Swordsoul Emergence in hand I felt like I had victory. And since I do another one, I just get the Swordsoul Strategist and get down the Baronne Nibiru to bait out his destruction so I can negate it, and then I can attack him for lethal. And that's how it's done. Look guys, I made the mistake of going second again because I lost the coin flip. I swear, for some reason this season I've lost probably 70% of all coin flips. I have no idea what's going on. It feels absolutely insane to me. But enough about me complaining there. Obviously cross-out Designators my Maxi, why wouldn't he? Other than that he would have Ash Blossomed or Called by the Graveyard, obviously. So that is just not nice. So he sets up the negate and the Baronne Nibiru on the negate. And I have a perfect hand right now with that draw to actually try and do something. So obviously he's gonna negate that. I kinda expected that. I was expecting either a negate effect or something, but you know, I was planning ahead here. So summon the Chaos Ruler, and this is where, sure, he could be smart and know about Red Supernova Dragon and negate my Crimson Resonator. However, if he had done that, I would actually be in big trouble. I think he might have seen that it was a Baronne Nibiru. I was thinking I could go into a Baronne Nibiru no matter what, but no, I had already special summoned it, so I had locked myself to Dark Dragon Synchro monsters. But turns out a lot of people don't know that Red Supernova Dragon exists, so took advantage of that against his opponent. So he goes for his Tire, trying to make another play. I'm actually just holding here. I'm like, go ahead, summon your negate. As soon as you either activate the search or the negate of the thing, I'll just... because you only get one. With this guy, you only get the search or the negate. You have to choose, so... As soon as he did that, I was just like, yep, okay. Gonna banish your entire board. And then he realizes that, no, Red Supernova Dragon does not go to the graveyard. He can't call by the graveyard, and then he surrenders. So I summon the Crimson Resonator. Obvious, already seeing the Red Supernova Dragon, so obviously I'm gonna go for that. No doubt about it. In addition to that, I have the Red Rain. So I feel pretty confident in this. Also 2 cross-out Designators. And that was the third on the top of my deck as well. This deck was not shuffled very well, considering the cross-out Designators were basically back-to-back there. But doesn't matter. I also got a horrible find on my... what is it? Excavate. So he's doing his little thing here. He summons Moye. And obviously I cross-out Designator the Moye. But then he has a cross-out Designator to cross-out Designator mine. And then I Red Rain him. I was actually thinking cross-out Designator wasn't a once per turn, but that's my bad. I was gonna cross-out Designator Moye again, but no, that's not how it works. And I believe at this stage, yeah, I activate the red supernova dragon, and this is, yeah, he concedes. So obviously I'm gonna go for the red supernova dragon. There was a good selection of cards, including King Wildwind and Crimson Resonator and stuff. He also infinite imperms my thing, but then I can quick effect to still get the effect off, which at least allows me to play some stuff. Now that I am kind of locked to Dark Dragon Synchro monsters, I needed the level 1s. Use the red resonator to summon with Swordsoul and setting up for some other stuff, and then I just go into Scarlet Red Dragon ARCHFIEND because why not? And this is where I overreact. I see this and I assume it's a Crooked Cook deck, which I wouldn't be able to deal with, so I obviously negate the effect, but then he has an Astral Kuriboh as well and he gets it anyways. And this is where I'm testing if that works before or after the Astral Kuriboh effect, but it works like after. And in theory it would have been better if I had done it now when he summoned it here. Just get rid of it, but no. Luckily I draw this, which is literally everything I need to get my red supernova dragon, because I can get the Chaos Ruler back. Now I will say I play this the proper accurate way, because the only thing that could really do anything here would be red supernova dragon, and especially since he's forbidden dropletting it. Since this guy gets back and can, you know, he can stock up, you might be like, wait, why didn't he save the forbidden droplet? Well, activating that effect would have triggered me to use the red supernova dragon effect, so no matter what he would have gotten rid of the forbidden droplet. And in that sense there was nothing he could really have done. Also, I should probably have called water there. At this stage I didn't know that you could just call water with Protos, and I was too afraid to see, oh, it says dark. So I could have called water and finished him there, but doesn't matter, he takes upon it himself to finish the game. Here's a quick clip showing why Iris Swordsoul is in the deck. He summoned this from his grave with an effect that negates its effect, so I can summon the Iris Swordsoul. And it's pretty obvious that he's going for the VFD. True King of all Calamities right there, also known as VFD. The thing is, this only prevents me from activating, but I had already activated it, and he concedes when I destroy it. The guy was under the effect of Maxi, so I didn't want to play too much, and I was still testing out Protos. I think this was one of the first games where I had Protos in like the whole deck, so I just selected Dark, and then I passed turn, because I figured that it's a good enough play when he has used Maxi. Turns out the effect was activated, so he can't actually negate the effect. So he's obviously some sort of weird gimmick deck. You can see he has dark stuff, so it was the right call to call dark when he's trying to special summon dark stuff, definitely. Like, that's part of his strategy. He obviously has other attributes, that's why he's still playing, but he will very soon realize that he needs to special summon dark to do whatever he's doing, and he just can't. Like, he just can't, and then he concedes. This Thunder deck managed to get Baronne Nibiru out on his first turn, so I have to play around the Baronne Nibiru. But also he has a Nibiru in hand that I don't know about, which I mean, that's definitely gonna be a problem. So the smart play here is I don't actually use the Grandmaster Search effect, because at this stage now he can't use his Baronne Nibiru, because then I'll just negate it. And then I'm trying to summon my own Baronne Nibiru so I can get rid of it, but then there's the Nibiru. There is the Nibiru. So I played around the Baronne Nibiru, he Nibirus me. I'm just like, okay, Chaos Ruler time. Can get an Abyss down at least, so I can secure myself this turn. And oh look, there's Protos, so I can call Light. And that means I can also get back Chaos Ruler with what was, what is it, Excavated. And that means I can literally get lethal on him by just calling Light with Protos. So I played around the Baronne Nibiru and I played around the Nibiru pretty damn efficiently here. Even if he had full HP, he couldn't take this kind of damage. I figured we'd go my favorite version of the deck first, because the main priority with this deck is always gonna be Red Supernova Dragon whenever possible. We have 2 Synchron Resonators, a Chain Resonator, 2 Adhara. These are very good because you can special summon them, and then if you have these plus pretty much any other tuner in your hand, or like any other monster, honestly, you can go into the Hulk if you need to, but these prevent you from breaking. We have 2 Maxis, then we have 3 Red Resonators. These also helps you from breaking because, you know, they can go into the Crystal Hulk with any other monster in your hand. If you have a Synchron Resonator, you can even block off the Ash Blossom on your Hulk by chaining this effect after and then returning the Red Resonator. One of the hardest calls I've had to make, Crimson Resonator down to 2. It reduces the chance you have it in your opening hand, which means that there are less chances for you to go for the Red Supernova Dragon. But, you know, if it's there and you can go for Red Supernova Dragon, it's good. There's just a possibility where you have 2 or 3 in your opening hand, and then this card is horrible. I've never had to play 3 of this in a single game before, as far as I recall, either. We have the Fire and Ascator, because now without any bricks, I feel like it's reasonable to run a single brick. Obviously, the 40 card version doesn't run this, because I want as low amount of bricks as possible in it. We have the Phantom King Hydride, which helps us in case we're stuck with the full, I guess, tuners and we can't actually summon anything, or if we just have an unplayable hand, we can use it to go into a Crystal Hulk with a Brax, and then we can get this out and go into the Baronne Nibiru or the Supreme Swordsoul. We obviously have 2 Ash Blossoms, mainly so we can cross out Designator them, but also so we can stop Maxis. We have Wandering King Wildwind. We have 3 Swordsoul of Moye. We have 2 Swordsoul of Taye. We have Incredible Acelsia, the Virtuous. We have 2 of those. They're light monsters, so they work very well with Chaos Ruler, but also they allow us to find Moye or whatever we need at the current time. We have the 3 Ascators, because it's an extra special summon. It really helps the deck out, in my opinion. We have the 3 Swordsoul Strategists. And then this is a bit of an odd card you don't really see, but I think this is amazing because sometimes you can special summon the Crimson Resonator, you can get down the Red Resonator plus any other monster, then you can summon this and you have your Red Supernova Dragon basically. Or if they negate one of your effects, you can quick effect this, tribute summon, and then your effects still go off if it's important enough that your effect resolve. And I really just like this card. It's also very good at dealing with Windair. They summon a Windair, they pass turn and you're there, oh, 1 special summon, yeah, I'm gonna summon this guy. Then you have 2 Tenji Spirit Vishuda. This kind of helps you if you're breaking on the level 3 stuff here. Even an Ash Blossom can turn into a Baronne Nibiru here. So it just makes the brick a bit less bricky, which is super nice. Then you have the Iris Swordsoul. I don't want to compromise on this card. I want 1 copy in the deck. It's a light monster. It goes well with the Chaos Ruler. You can summon it out with this one. If you happen to not have anything else you can do, then you can summon out the Iris Swordsoul. This plus a Resonator can go into Baronne Nibiru, and if they summon something that have an effect negator, you can screw up the entire turn. There was a clip in the video where I basically destroy a VFD because he summoned a stuff and negated its own effect. Then we have a Nibiru, mostly because I'm so tired of having to deal with enemies throwing Nibirus at me. I want to cross out Designator it. If it's in your hand, it's fine, and it's also a light monster, so it has synergy with Chaos Ruler. Then we have Archnemesis Protos. This is your go-to counter for Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, but also if you're against the mirror, or you have an idea, like a feeling that you're against the mirror, you summon your Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign, and then you call water with it, and you screw them over. Also, in a bit of longer games, you might be able to get the chance to call water and screw them over against somebody that Nibiru's you, and they possibly use a light deck. You can call either light or dark. You have the Harpy's Feather Duster, which, you know, is just a very good card to deal with back row stuff. I have this mainly because it's in foil. You can replace it with 1 Lightning Storm if you want to, or you can replace it with something else if you really badly want to, maybe even a Resonator Call. We have 3 Swordsoul Emergence, we have 2 Called by the Grave, we have 3 Cross-Out Designators, we have a Forbidden Droplet. I prefer Dark Ruler no more, but we have the Forbidden Droplet in case we get the chance to cross out Designator it. We have an Infinite Impermanence, mainly so we can cross out Designator it. And then we have 1 Red Rain, which can absolutely turn the tide of battle. In the extra deck we have Red Rising Dragon, Shooting Riser Dragon, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, 2 Chaos Rulers, 1 Swordsoul Grandmaster, 2 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, a Baronne Nibiru, a Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign, a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, King Calamity. I still like running 2 Red Supernova Dragon, but you could probably cut it down to 1 if you want and add in something else that you feel like the deck needs. Same with maybe Abyss. You might not need 2 anymore because you have the Grandmaster, but I just really like running 2 of both of those. So in theory you can cut down 2 cards there. You might even be able to cut down a Chaos Ruler if you really badly want to optimize your extra deck. You have the Monk of Tenji, which is a recent addition to the deck where if you are just absolutely screwed, you might be able to summon a Vishuda, go into the Monk of Tenji, return something annoying to their hand like a skill drain or something. And then obviously you have the Crystal Hulk with a Brax. Now for the DP version, most of the cards I went over in the first version, so go watch that, because that's like 6 minutes long, and I'll just keep this brief with the changes. We have Celestial and Dasher instead of Hydride and the Fire and Ascator. We have 2 Fusion Destinies instead of you know, 2 of the Dawnwalkers. We have another one of these instead of the 3rd Dawnwalker, and then we have another Resonator Call instead of Harpy's Feather Duster. We have Verde Anaconda instead of the Halqifibrax, and we have Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer instead of the Shooting Riser Dragon. And lastly, we have the 40 card version. I went over every single card already in the first version of the deck list that I did earlier in the video, so you can go a bit back and watch that if you're wondering about certain cards here. This version of the deck is aimed at being as consistent as possible. It has less outs, less plays it can kind of do. It can't bait as much, I guess, but it's super consistent, especially when going first, and it also serves to the people that don't want to compromise and only want to run 40 cards. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you again next time.